What's up, guys? This is Tom Burkhardt from Car Revs Daily. Very special day. We're out in the 2017 Rolls-Royce Dawn. Absolutely astonishing vehicle. Simply sublime. I mean, words really don't do a Rolls-Royce justice. You have to just be around them and just sort of soak in their aura and become absolutely intoxicated with it. The car is so magnificent. This particular example is in a special light blue with stunning woods, with a spine coming up the center that you can see a little bit in this cup holder cover, but that extends to the central armrest in the back, and then also the big tonneau cover over like atop the trunk lid when you have the top down. So I mean, the color combinations alone are like absolutely phenomenal, and then you have a sense of the sheer presence of this car. I mean, I'm telling you, nothing in the world has as much grace as this Rolls-Royce Dawn, except perhaps another Rolls-Royce. I made a wrong turn. So it's a quick drive review today. I'm going to we're gonna have the top up obviously right now for a few seconds, and really long throttle travel gives you really precise control and lets you actually drive super smoothly. I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of the car's performance a little bit and its character, but generally Dawn buyers, I mean, would never be this deep into the throttle, and that long throttle travel is just part of the whole experience in a holistic look at a luxury vehicle from start to finish, including not wanting to have too sharp of movements on the throttle. So just little stuff like that is what makes Rolls-Royce so special, so unique, and just one of a kind in the automotive universe. So where are we here? We're gonna go. But then you have the fact, so of course, air suspension and a pillowy cloud-like ride. But the superlatives and the descriptions you've heard of the acceleration just being sort of a surge and coasting the wave are really, they might be more apt for the Phantom than they are for the Dawn and the Wraith, its hardtop sibling, because this vehicle is legitimately fast. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, anything with a twin-turbo V12 is going to be urgent, but this is a seriously rapid machine, and has some performance credentials, even with its ultra-soft ride. The center of gravity is clearly very, very low, and because of this ultra-long hood, you have sort of a cab backward experience from the driver's seat, which gives you a really unique and special sense of sort of like piloting the helm. It honestly feels sort of like a giant yacht in that regard, and is special versus S-Class, which, even though it has a long hood, it's not so long that you really feel it from the driver's seat. Whereas Dawn really has that sort of special elegance in its proportions that are evident inside and out. So I'm very, very excited to be driving this vehicle, and I'm going to put the top down shortly, but I'm worried about the wind bluster, so we'll try to keep it up as long as we can. It's a little bit of a gray day here in northern Wisconsin, and we got some twisty roads. I'm eager to see how Dawn performs in corners. So far, the steering is very, very feelsome. The ride is sort of like, is floaty but contained. There's never a second float, for example. Like coming over that ridge around the corner, it absorbed the bumps and brought us back in line, but there's never that second rebound, which is the hallmark of, which the fact that it doesn't do that is the hallmark of a really, really just awesomely engineered vehicle. Because with a ride this soft, it's difficult to prevent that. But I mean, this is like a really crappy road. It's like really beat up, and the car is so silent. It's so majestic. It's absolutely unbelievably exquisite. I don't even feel right driving. I just got some walkers there. People are pretty shocked to see, my little pumpkin head driving this car. I don't know who they're expecting, but it's not me. So that's kind of a nice little treat as you're driving along. Dawn, of course, attracts a tremendous amount of attention overall. I mean, there's just no way that this ultimate Gatsby Express could be subtle, and it's not, which is a really, really good thing. As demure as owners might be about the fact that they own a Rolls-Royce, and they own many of them, and they have the special Dawn, really at the core of it, they do want it to be acknowledged as just really sort of an event type of automobile that it really, really is. So as shy as they might be, I'm not letting them get away with that. Anybody who buys a Rolls-Royce, somewhere deep in their heart of hearts, relishes the special attention that the car achieves on the road. So that is certainly in no short supply, even up here in like relatively rural Wisconsin. We're near Road America here, the racetrack, but we're just out in some of the country roads around there. So handling is genuinely admirable around corners. The fact that about 2/3 of the panels are new for Dawn versus Wraith is important to note. I mean, because you really don't think it. You think of like the roof, but you don't think of the rear quarter panels. You know, even down to the trunk lid, rear bumpers. I mean, some of the door stuff. Like genuinely, a lot of these elements are completely unique to Dawn versus the Wraith sibling. And what they do is help the car feel sort of lightweight in a way that other Rolls-Royces do not, visually speaking. But they also genuinely cut, you know, about 300 pounds of weight from very, very high in the center of mass. So as a result, the Dawn perhaps might handle even a little bit better than Wraith, and there's zero sense of compromise. Absolutely zero scuttle shake. I mean, zero sense of anything moving in the cabin, which for a convertible this big is a huge achievement in and of itself. And it's a majestic one at that. But I think I haven't driven Wraith in a little bit, but I still feel like Dawn might be the performance secret of the range. So that's a pretty special thing. And then beyond all this, so you have like all of this Rolls-Royce-ness. This is like it's pretty seriously fast and kind of fun. I know this is not the appropriate way to drive a Rolls-Royce, but it is fun if that is the way, you know, if that's your cup of tea. So it is kind of fun to steer. I even kind of like this giant oversized steering wheel with its really, really thin rim, which just last night I was speaking to the Rolls-Royce individuals and telling them, you know, gosh, you guys, why don't you have like sort of a smaller wheel, a little sportier for the steering wheel? And they just gave me, you know, they just looked at me like I didn't get it. And I think I didn't. So now that I'm behind the wheel, I really do understand why you have this large helm. Of course, traditionally it's because they were very, very heavy vehicles, and larger steering wheel made it easier to drive them. But at this point, it's part of the experience, and it's part of what makes Dawn so special versus its rivals like Bentley Continental GT or Grand Cabriolet, or of course the S-Class and Maybach S650 these days, which are really the only genuine competitors to this vehicle. The other competitors might be like, you know, investing or maybe a boat, or so, you know, some kind of something that is not an automotive vehicle and not an automotive expenditure whatsoever. So this is a one-of-a-kind car, and it's really good to be reminded of that behind the wheel, because you can get a little sort of like, not jaded, but a little skeptical of the merits of Dawn from afar. You know, if you're like me, I mean, I was thinking like, hey, they need a new steering wheel, they need new wheels outside, like, you know, they just need to sort of like youth up and sort of black badge the whole experience. But then you see sort of this like exquisitely plated, you know, sort of like silver nickel effect chrome, I mean, that is more reflective than my bathroom mirror. You see, you know, these woods that have been picked out of samples of perhaps, you know, 10,000 different options of embellishments for the cabin. Same for the leathers, same for the paint. I mean, it's all of that stuff is individually tailored in a way that, like, lots of luxury automakers promise, but they don't deliver. I mean, there might be like X amount of options for various things. Whereas with Rolls-Royce, I mean, that bespoke team it's like a full-time job designing the smallest detail of the car, and endless meetings and consultations to get it right, to really get everything right the first time and not have any kind of sense that it's a compromised experience, because it's really not. So I'm going to put the top down. It might get a little blustery. I'm not using an attached microphone, it's just the GoPro mic. So if it does get difficult to hear me, I apologize. But it's worth it, even on a gray day, to put the top down in this vehicle. Because it's so massive, and because it's an absolutely pure cabriolet experience with that flat tonneau cover in back, even though the notification sound is sort of a glorious symphonic multi-note there. The loudest sound you might hear in this Rolls-Royce is not the clock ticking, it's other vehicles. Because everything in the world is louder than Dawn, especially from inside the cabin. There's you can't get flustered in here, and you really can't help but smile driving it, especially with the top down. I mean, it's just the world all around us, even on the harshest days, and even when you've really stretched your smile to the limit, Dawn is gonna demand more of you because it's just that cool and that special. I'm a huge fan, whereas last night I would have been saying, hey, when's the black badge Dawn coming? Now I'm thinking like, okay, it'll be great when it gets here, but you know, for now, what Rolls-Royce has achieved in this launch edition, with still with its bright work, still with its traditionality intact, is nothing short of remarkable. This is Tom Burkhardt from Car Revs Daily. We'll see you next time.